Hello, welcome back. I'm Miniature Mike, and today we're going to continue our series of doing tier lists for all the Star Wars miniature sets. I just barely did one for Legacy of the Force. A lot of fun, great set, lots of really good minis in there, so please check it out if you haven't yet. And also just kind of some background on this particular set. I've been collecting a lot the last couple of years, trying to get 100%, but we'll see if that ever happens. But I do not have a ton of these characters from KOTOR. So it's going to be a lot more of me just kind of theorizing, based on what I've seen and a little bit of what I've heard as well. But for the most part, let's kind of jump right into it. So the KOTOR set, they have some really strong people, but then some people that I'm just not all that, I don't know, people I think may be a little bit overrated. So Aten Rand, pretty interesting guy we have here. So he's extremely good if you have the jump and you're against Jedi, basically. So against like a Sith person, he's going to do a lot of damage. For 26, not the best stats, but he does have cunning attack. He does have double attack and Jedi Hunter. It would be nice if he had like accurate shot or something so he could really pinpoint hit those Sith Lords. But because he is Old Republic and because he is going to be attacking mostly Sith, not always, but if you play those types of scenarios, of course he'll be great in those situations. He'll be able to have 16 attack and just oodles of damage, which is great for 26, but I don't know. I think that's really one-dimensional. It is nice, though, that he does have cunning attack 20 and double attack, so he's maybe not so one-dimensional. I think he's pretty good. However, I do think that he's a glass cannon as well. He can do the damage. You can get into some good spots, but I think ultimately, he's a person you could probably knock out pretty quick if you know what you're doing. But really good. I'm going to put him very, very, very top of B tier. Maybe bump him into A tier later on. I do like the potential. His role, really good at that role for sure. But I do think he might die a little quick. But not going to complain. I think he's pretty good. I may even put him in A tier. And the thing as well, as we go on in this series, I'm going to be a little more critical, just because older sets tend to not be as good and there's a lot of power creep. So to prevent everything from being A tier, S tier, I need to be a little more critical as well. And, great piece. Really good what he'll do, but I'll leave him down there. Bloo. So the thing I like about him, he's kind of almost reminds me of Bloo, where he has a super high repair ability. This guy's awesome with droids. So I think he's a little too expensive, to be honest, though. He's really good in melee situations, especially if he doesn't move. But even then, his attack's not good enough to do enough, in my opinion, unfortunately. So I think ultimately he may be lower than I'm wanting. I think I may put him in B tier, maybe low. He may wind up low B tier. Because Repair 30 is awesome. So this guy, you want him with those Juggernaut War Droids. He's going to keep him going, which is nice. But unfortunately, offensively, he just doesn't cut it. And Mighty Swing, even if you do get to use it, you don't have good attack, unfortunately. And being able to destabilize shields, this is a guy who's going to be good against, against those Sith assault droids, if that's what you're going up against. But you won't see those maybe that often anyway. And also, I got to pick up the pace so that this does not take a long time. Let's see, Bloo. I'm going to probably put him top of C tier. I know this kind of hurts because he is kind of expensive. If you look at Bloo in the last set, she's cost the same, but has vastly better stuff. She has accurate shot, mobile attack. She has industrial repair 30 and gunner, which is great to pair with those types of machinery, and she's fringe. So I think for Bloo, unfortunately, he's definitely high C tier, low B tier, but I do like him. I have him. I've had him for a long time. I love him with Juggernaut War Droids and other types of droids you bring into Old Republic, but you're paying a lot to just repair, and that's pretty much it. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he'll make low B tier, but I'm kind of changing things on the go as well. Karth kind of reminds me a little bit of this guy, Aten Rand. However, this guy is a little interesting. So he's even more expensive. Stats are basically the same. But the problem with him is he doesn't get the attack boosts. The other guy gets awesome attack boosts, which might even move him up to A tier, to be honest with you. He doesn't. so he's not going to hit anything. He's got double twin and Deadeye, so the damage potential is there, but the attack isn't there. So like you're going to be tickling your targets. Intuition's great. It's a good thing to kind of get in and out of positions, which is nice. Industrial repair is all right, but there's other people I'd rather use if I'm gonna be doing that. So unfortunately, he's way overrated in my opinion. Way overrated. I might bump him to low. Yeah, when I first saw this guy when he came out, I was just confused at how expensive he is. Like you can argue the offensive potential is there, find ways to bump the attack, but no, I think that 7 attack holds him back so far that even having intuition, twin, and Deadeye and double to really set you up for a really good opportunity, you're not gonna hit anything. Unfortunately, like you might hit the weak targets, which is good, like that's great, but to like really kind of be an offensive threat, I don't like it. I don't like it very much. I'd much rather have Atten Rand, even though he's a little weaker. He's got cunning attack, and he has ways of boosting his attack easier, while also having a lot of damage output. So definitely not a fan of those. These guys, though, I am a huge fan of. I'm going to stick these guys at A tier. For 16 points, you have outrageous stats. Like, who has these stats for 16 points? Plus, you have flight, you have mobile attack, that's great. You have shatter beam, which is such a nice power. Like if you want to do that door control, forget about needing demolition charges. And then sonic stunner is great. This is cheap, and he has a sonic power. Get those activations triggered. I think these guys are awesome. Like if I was crazy enough, I like droids. If I was crazy enough, I put them in S tier. Maybe I should. I don't know. I think these are fantastic. The attack lacks a little bit, unfortunately. It does, and it's going to be hard to boost that attack with Old Republic. But the ways around that is just combining fire, I guess. But I think these things are fantastic. Master Lucian Dre, this guy's definitely an A tier character. So the thing with him, he's epic against melee people. Very high attack. Duelist will be great. He does have double, so the attack isn't there necessarily, but the riposte can kind of make up for it, being able to have more attacks. Then he has Force Renewal. I assume it's Force Renewal 1, and then Force 1. So I do like how he's great defensive. This guy reminds me quite a lot of Shadow Vow. However, I like him more because I think he has better stats than Shadow Vow does. Very similar, like very kind of jack of all trades. He has the basic Force powers you want, mash the Force 2. But the thing I like about him is he has better hit points. He has better stats, all that kind of stuff. And I'm gonna put him in A tier. I'm gonna definitely put him in A tier. I may put him a little higher than these guys, but for 48, that's really good. You're starting to get some pretty good things going with that much. But I'm not gonna get too crazy with him, but he is good. Mira, I think this character is probably top of A tier. She has so much going for her, it's wild. So very expensive. Great stats though. The attack's fantastic. Sense is really good too, but then she has all of these other things you want to. Like, where do I start? So she's accurate and bounty hunter, so she can pinpoint the unique characters with, has crazy attack. Then she has mobile, perfect. You can keep yourself safe. She has twin, so you can land the attacks for sure. And then she has Splash 10, so you can kind of try to have a higher chance of getting the damage. So I think offensively, she's terrifying. I think she's terrifying. She might be an S tier character for me. I think the stats, like for 50 points, this reminds me of Han Solo a little bit. Those expensive Han Solos, but that one has Evade, which is extremely good. So I think that holds her back just a hair from being overpowered. But she's so good. So I'm definitely going to put Mira... see if I can find her. Let's see. Mira is... There's some good characters in this. Holy cow. Right there. I think Mira is definitely top of A tier for sure. And then Demolition Charge. What the heck? Throw that in. That could be nice. If something gets too close, you can blow it up. Cool. And then Force Sense is great. You can help your teammates knock out the stealth people as well. So... very, very good. A very good piece. She has so many good things working together. The only thing that isn't wonderful is she's defenseless. She doesn't have great defensive capabilities, so that's kind of where the mobility comes in. So you got to watch out, but she'll, if you're not careful, she'll nail you pretty good, really good. Old Republic captain. So I think I put this guy down in C tier. Yeah, they're not bad. I think the thing with the Old Republic captain though is it's okay. You know, it has what you'd expect stats wise. It's a nice size double attack, which is good. And then he gives Old Republic followers, they gain more defense and they have squad assault. So he's able to give Old Republic troopers, actually Old Republic followers. Wow, you can actually do a lot with that. I might bump this guy to B tier. The implications of this. So the implications of this is Old Republic followers. They gain 3 defense and squad assault. So that includes, you know, groups of Jedi, technically. Lots of different things. So I think if you're creative, instead of just using your troopers, and your troopers will benefit from having more defense, better attack, for sure. So I think this definitely will end up low B tier at the end of the day, but you could do some cool things. Old Republic Guard, I don't care for these things that are. They have the stats basically of a, you know, like a just your average terrible, you know, low shooter, not enough defense in my opinion. D tier, don't care. Squint, so he's pretty interesting. So he costs 20. Pretty good stats. You know, they have fair stats for a 20. But he has some interesting things. So he does have stealth, which is great. It'll help him kind of get closer to his targets. He's much better in melee. This guy's great if you're going against Mandalorians. Since Mandalorians, it's hard to get up close to him. So that can be a definitely very tricky thing. And so I think he's pretty good. And then, you know, again, block is great for melee. But the thing is, though, with Mandalorians, they have some melee options, but it's not like there's too many. And the melee options they have are good against this type of figure. So even though he's a 20, like I think if you're not careful, you can definitely knock him out pretty solidly well. But I still think he's good. I put him S tier on my original ranking. No, I didn't. I did not. That's Zane Carrick I put up there. I don't know. Part of me really likes him, but I think in some ways I do like how he's cheap for sure. But I think I'm going to have to probably put him down a little bit. Probably low A tier. Maybe that's not fair, but these guys are really nice for A tier. Yeah, Mandalorian Hunter is great. So that's the only issue I have with him is I think the Mandalorians can kill him pretty quick. They have the capability to do that. And I don't know if you're going to be able to use block as well. So I think for 20 points, he's a bargain. But there's just something about him that I'm not totally convinced about. Because he needs to be good against Mandalorians. And they're going to probably just shoot him instead. But whatever. Visismar, I really like Visismar a lot. I think she's probably high B tier. Yeah, just look right there. So lots of good stuff going on. Very, you know, stats you'd expect for this level. Double bodyguard's all right to throw in. Flurry's nice. It's a trap's good. I like sense and block, so I think she's just a really great, well-rounded Old Republic Jedi. You know, good if you get her in close to situations. You know, she can mess up stealth stuff, and she can defend herself. And sense is always a good thing to throw in there, so you can help your allies out. Elite Wookiee Warrior. These guys are actually probably high A tier. These are so powerful. And I know there's like people like Miru, and I think even Commander Greek can do it too, where you can bring them into your squad even though they're Old Republic. I think these things are insanely strong. So with these, I put them mid A tier in my old. So they cost 19, but they have so many things going for them. They have charging assault 10 and melee reach 2 and momentum. So the implications are wild. You get up close, you get 1 square away from a melee person, you have 13 attack and 40 damage, you smash them. If they want to attack you, they have to commit an attack of opportunity since they would be moving and they'll be considered adjacent. I think I have to double check on the melee reach too. There's so many rules, sometimes they get confused on them. But in general, this guy can just run up there, do some damage. I might put him down just a hair. Yeah, I think that feels a bit better. But if you get a good squad of Wookiees with the right commanders and combinations, oh my gosh, these things are crazy. And the 18 defense is so good. So I think this is a good place for him. Probably the best Wookiee in the game, in my opinion. The best non-unique Wookiee. The Wookiee Trooper, on their hand, not quite the same. They're missing a lot of things like momentum. Worse defense. They are a lot cheaper. Cleave's good. They still have melee reach 2, mighty swing. I'm going to stick these guys down in B tier, though. Maybe C tier. I just feel like they kind of get left behind if you're going to use a Wookiee. Let's do, yeah, C tier right now. For 11 points, though, it's still pretty good in general, but I don't think you're going to necessarily get the opportunity to use Mighty Swing, maybe. Maybe Cleave, maybe not. So I think some of the powers you'll miss out on, but they're not bad. I think if you pair them again with the right characters, they can be pretty good. Darth Malak, I think this Malak is definitely high A tier. So much better than the old Malak. The old Malak is not as bad, I think, as advertised. I think he gets a little bit of a bad rap. Sure, I'll put him up here. The thing with this Malak is cool. So he's about the same cost, 49. He's very Count Dooku-esque, meaning very good against melee, although not quite as good. So he has great stats, very high attack. Sheesh. Really nice, melee stuff. Having deadly attack's nice to throw in there. So good melee dueler for the most part. And followers just get +4 attack. So that's everybody. That's a great commander effect. Basically, it's rangeless. It affects most of your team. It's better than just kind of giving the weird combining fire stuff. And then as far as powers go, I love his powers. He's got Force Lightning 2, kind of for that intermediate attack, which is a very effective one. Sith Rage, which will be very, very helpful when he's doing some, melee situations. He can up his damage with the high attack. And Stun, man, I don't really think this guy's good. I almost want to put him in S tier, but I just don't know. Jeez, I don't know. Where do I put him? I think he's so powerful. I might just move him to S tier because all of his force powers super useful. Commander effect, great commander effect, and he's not that expensive for having all of this stuff. Oh my goodness, he has extremely good stats for even someone that level. I'll put him up there. He's a little weak. You might need to keep him defended. He doesn't defend himself well just in general. He has 20 defense, but Duelist only works for melee, so I'm going to put him S tier. I think he is pretty scary. So here's my hot take. I don't think Darth Sion's very good. I really don't. And there's several reasons for that. So I'm going to stick him. I'm going to put him down here in C tier. No, I'm going to put him below Atton Rand. I'd almost even rather have him. Nah, Atton Rand's not that bad. He's better. Okay, so here's some issues. So if you find ways to give him more force power, great. That's always a good thing. You can make him very powerful with the right setup, but the problem is he costs 70, basically. And he is better in melee. That's great. But he doesn't have very much offensive potential at all. So, he has double attack, bad attack for, someone that's expensive. I know all of this is geared towards Eternal Hatred. But, if you want to use Eternal Hatred twice, you need to only use one of these once, unless you have other ways of getting force. So you'll use Rage once, maybe Riposte once, but his offensive attack is not there, low hit points, low defense. So even though he has a 25% chance of coming back to life, that's really good, but you're paying 70 for it, and he's going to take damage so fast. He's just going to get flooded with damage. Heck, this guy right here could do 80 damage to him in a blink of an eye, and boom, he's almost done. And the problem is, though, if you're unlucky on that 25% chance, you're screwed. Horrendously screwed. So I think I'm going to put him in D tier. I know this is probably just too harsh, but I think the idea of Eternal Hatred is really cool, but the fact that there's, not necessarily an insignificant chance it doesn't work, you're in big trouble. So, not my cup of tea. So, sorry for you fans of Darth Sion out there. Really cool mini, really unique mini for sure, but I would have too much anxiety using him. Elite Sith Trooper. So, basically, spend 13 points, you get really solid stats, that's it. And there's things you can do to meld them, make it look better, but I'll put him C tier. C tier doesn't necessarily mean he's bad, it's just, actually, where did I put him on my last? I put him C tier. Yeah, I think this is fair. I'll put him just below Bowdor. They're great, good shooter, but they don't offer anything else. Putting in C tier doesn't mean he's bad. If this guy was in, Rebels and Imperials or Rebel Storm, then maybe he'd be a B tier or higher. But he doesn't offer much. It's a clean slate, but not I don't dislike those guys. Sith Assassin. The elite Sith Assassins are pretty scary. These guys are all right ish. I like how they have paralysis and cunning attack. That can be really useful for kind of that utility piece. Um, but the elite Sith Assassin is so much more useful than these guys, and they don't cost that much more. So, unfortunately, I'm going to probably have to put them very, very low B tier. I think they're useful to a degree, but nah, these guys are going to go down here. For 21 points, I'd rather have other things. They can get killed quick once they're out. They can only do one attack for 30 damage, and once the cat's out of the bag and they're exposed, they can get taken out pretty quick. No defense, so. They're down there. Quick guard. You're never going to use quick reactions. If you happen to, well, that's great. But the thing that's kind of cool, though, is he has 2 less defense than a stormtrooper. Both cost 5. But he does have quick reactions. So, like, there might be some random instances where the enemy wants to just kind of run by you to, get to some other person to take out. Well, this will deter them a little bit, which is okay. I don't know if these are quite D tier. I'm going to probably just throw them in D tier in general because an enemy will work around that to make sure it doesn't happen. I'd rather have these than them. The quick reaction gives some deterrence, but I don't love those. These droids are pretty good. I'm going to put them in B tier overall for a few reasons. They're expensive. They have good offensive potential, double attack, twin attack. That's awesome. Shields 2 with high hit points, also awesome. But they will take the hits, and they eventually will, kind of run out of stuff. And it is cool that it's just kind of whenever. So I think they can last a while. They have good enough attack to do the damage you want them to do. So I think I'm going to stick this guy top of B tier, right above Vices Mar. I think I like him just a little bit more. Really good. The only thing that holds him back is they're on Sith. Sith don't really have things to support droids all that well. If this guy was Separatists, he might be like top of A tier. Like if this guy was on the Separatists team, if you could find a way to get this on Separatists, oh my gosh! Like this guy's incredible, absolutely incredible. So I think being on the Sith holds him back a little bit, but they're great. They are great at what they are. They're just really, really, really expensive, even for what they do. But it's definitely still good. Marauders, great base stats, double attack, awesome. They can run up, do some damage. Decent defense against shooters. I think these guys are kind of underrated, to be honest. I'm gonna put them high B tier. I'm gonna put just above Vices Mar because if you think about it, like, kind of has the same stats. Although she has other interesting utility powers that are helpful. But I think for 22 points, these guys are a steal, absolute steal. Sith Operative. These are cool. So again, the stats are of the Sith Guard, but cunning attack 20. If you play your cards right, you can have someone who's pretty cheap, who's doing a lot of damage, decent attack. They're not like incredible, don't get me wrong, but I think low B tier is appropriate for the Sith Guard. I think being a 10 and having such a high potential power, if you use it right, can be good. So let's put these guys C tier. No, did I say B tier? I did say B tier. I'd rather have more of these. I'm gonna put in the very bottom of B tier. Or top of C tier. We'll do bottom B tier. Yeah, I think I'm expecting myself to die anyway, but having cunning attack 20 can be pretty cool. Captain is pretty solid, so you're just giving Sith Troopers double attack. So that applies to a few different Sith Troopers. That's a good power, don't get me wrong. However, I think I almost like this more, to be honest with you. No, this one more. Yeah, this one has much far-reaching implications. You're just giving double attack to characters that look cool but aren't really that great. For Sith Operatives, this is actually pretty good. But unfortunately, it kind of is not a little too specific. Not my cup of tea, so I'll put them down here. Captain Pananka, extremely powerful, as we all know. You mix him with... He's like the Thrawn of the Republic. He's not going to do too much offensively for you, but being able to switch the characters, it's easy to mix Massamata with him. I think this guy's easily just top of A tier, probably. That's a fair place. Opportunist will help him get a good shot off. He's enough hit points to maybe use Bodyguard a little bit if you need to, but in general, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool guy. Captain Tarpals, I think I put Tarpals in... I think he belongs in S tier. I think this is my take with him. all he does is exist, and he makes it so that you can have your people do things twice. So like double grenades 30, double rockets something. I think the implications of this are very, 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 very strong, um, and yeah, I think it's pretty scary. Just if you think about what you can do with this, just keep him in the back, man, and he needs no range modifiers. You could do some disgusting things, disgusting things with this commander effect. I don't need to say anymore. Gungan Artillerist, pretty good, rangeless, 20 damage. A save of 11, and then you can activate things too. So pretty good for 11. Oh boy, these things are really really good. Honestly, I think the Gungans in this set are kind of overpowered in some ways. I think I messed up. I think this is Tarpals. This is the Gungan. Let's see here. I think my daughter is awake. I'm just checking my camera real quick. Excuse me. Let's see here. What's going on? That's things thinking about itself. I'm going to put Gungan Artillerist. Really good. I mean, being able to have rangeless 20 damage. Really good. And they're pretty cheap too for 11. So I think I stick them in here. I'm going to put these guys... I think they're pretty dang good. I'm going to put them in B tier still. That's probably too low. Ugh. Man, 11 points, sets to 20, and it's a 50-50, 20 damage, and then you can also maybe make them activated too. Man, that's really good for 11 points, because 11-point characters, like, their chances of hitting someone isn't awesome anyway, and to just have that effect every time, and then to be able to do it twice with him is so good. I think with him, they're very strong, but without him, still really good, but, yeah, I'm going to do right there. Let's see. Shield Bearer. Sorry for that break. I know it's gonna look seamless in just in the video, but I go take care of my daughter real quick. I might have to, but pretty good. I mean, they have molecular shielding. They share it with everybody around them, and they have level 20 to defend themselves. So, I think you're definitely looking at a pretty good piece right here. These guys belong in A tier, in my opinion. Maybe low A tier just to not make it too crazy, but like you put these on your team, they're huge deterrents. Really, really, really good. So I think the Gungan Shield Bearer is pretty good. Good defensive deterrent for ranged units for sure. I think it might need to cost more, honestly, with the energy shield that it has. It's pretty strong. So I'd probably bump him up like right there. Gungan Soldier, again, pretty good. However, his power is ranged, and that's all he can do is just do like a short range grenade 20 basically, and that's pretty good. And it's a good grenade 20 power too. I'm gonna put them in B tier though. Like if you have a lot of these things, that is good. They have good defense, so that'll be helping you out quite a bit, but not as good as the Artillerist. The Artillerist is next level, so I'm gonna stick this guy at the very bottom of B tier, maybe even high C tier. Yeah, top of C tier I think sounds fair. Because I'd just rather use the other ones anyway. They don't have as much of a use if you're gonna be bombarding with the Cesta. Jar Jar Binks. This guy's okay. Up next we got Jar Jar Binks. He's kind of cool. He does really good stuff with the draw fire, bombad Gungan stuff. It is interesting how it says on a success. So basically, whenever a target hits him, this character must attempt to save. So on a success, the attacker is redirected to another character of your choice. If no other character is within 6 squares, then the attack is negated. So how I read that is like, yes, you get to choose, but like it has to hit something if possible. Otherwise, it's negated. So I think in general, you could probably use this guy as a pretty interesting bodyguard to try to like keep fire off your main person. So I think it's pretty solid. I think it's kind of memey for sure, but I think he's definitely worthwhile, like a B tier, just kind of for that role, not costing all that much and having high defense. Using his draw fire and bombad Gungan could be quite helpful. So I think I'll stick him not super high B tier, honestly, but like I think it could be pretty sweet. I'll put him like right here. Yeah. Obi-Wan Kenobi Padawan. So for 22, get a pretty good melee fighter. Definitely has that offensive capability going with double, flurry, kind of a loner type person. But the only issues I see with him is these are all cool. He doesn't have defensive capability at all. He's just kind of all go, um, which you can make him okay and work, and he's better if he's alone, obviously, or if he's on one with an enemy, I should say, not alone. But he's all right. I think B tier, like a low B tier. I'll put him just like right ahead of Jar Jar, maybe. I prefer her for sure over him, but like for 22 points, it's pretty good with all those different things going on. Chancellor Palpatine, he's pretty awesome too. So good amount of hit points, and then he has all these fun toys going with like people with a force rating. They're chasing a bodyguard. It's helpful for survivability. He has force powers, and force alter, being able to use that a lot can be really good, especially to like again help kind of dictate the situation. And then rapport with having cheaper people. Betrayal is always a scary thing, especially if you're going to throw it on him. And then Republic Reserve. So you have basically a 1 in 10 chance of bringing in reinforcements. That's pretty scary. I think that's really, really good. I don't know where to rank him because he's such a unique individual. I don't think he's S tier, but like that's really good. Like, if you get to him quick and try to knock him out, that's really helpful for sure. But again, he's not going to do anything almost at all just by himself. So getting the 30 reinforcements in a way is like kind of substituting for what he doesn't do. But having renewal is great, and alter. So I'm going to put him a high A tier. I think he's really good. Really, really good unit to kind of have in there. Han Solo Smuggler, interesting guy. So he has that. This one reminds me a little bit of the Hoth one, where they're kind of missing some things you'd associate with Han Solo. Instead of cunning, he's opportunist. And it's a good opportunist, It's 40 damage, accurate shot, 13. So I think in some ways maybe he's similar in cost to the original one, but he's a little less hit points. I think the defense is the same, but he has opportunist instead of what he had before. So I think he's okay. He's not a bad character. He's just not a very interesting Han Solo piece. Being able to have that opportunist shot is really good. Of course, you can make him better with all sorts of commander effects, but let's put him in low B tier, I think is fine. Bottom of B tier. He's all right. The fact that he has accurate shot again, an opportunist, is really good, so he can kind of pinpoint strike who he wants with good attack, good damage, but a little vanilla, unfortunately. Later Gun Senator, pretty cool character. So for 7, like even if he didn't have Diplomat, like this is crazy. Like what are we doing? Even if he didn't have Diplomat, like a 7-point piece with 40 hit points, it's 7 attack. Yeah, sure, 10 damage, but like, what is going on here? Force 1, that's cool to have that on a 7-point piece, and then having Diplomat, so she can basically just kind of be like that, just kind of be around in the action, act as moving cover, just kind of be just annoying for 7 points. Like that's kind of bonkers, honestly. Just all of these combinations for just a 7-point piece. So I'm definitely going to put her in A tier. I don't know exactly where to put her because she is only 7. And you're not going to necessarily always use this individual, but like, I don't know. I'll just put her right above this guy. I think for what she provides at cost 7 is insane, like totally insane. Luke Skywalker Jedi. So this is the upgraded version of the Rebel Storm one. Really similar. Like the sculpt is almost the same. Similar stats. They're solid for 29. Maybe like a hair actually underpowered because it's pretty good for 29. But then he has Gemso style. That's great. Flurry attack is good. So definitely has that good melee going on there. And the cool thing about him as well is he has really good he's a really good jack of all trades character, honestly. Great Jedi because he has renewal. He's got block, deflect. That's a great combo, of course, to have both. And then he's quick. So he can get in. He can start doing damage. And then using Gemso with, force points and block and deflect, with block especially. This guy's a tough out. Really tough out. I definitely like him. I think he's for sure an A tier character for sure. I don't necessarily love the really wacky, interesting characters as much, maybe as much as I should. I really like just a good, simple, character that has solid stats, interesting and useful powers that kind of work together. Little cherries on top like Flurry, And then just force powers that are really useful. Some people have force powers that are not useful at all, and I think his are awesome. So he's A tier. I'm not going to say like crazy high A tier, maybe lower A tier, but like A tier is still great. Darth Vader Scourge of the Jedi. This guy is the cheap version. He's the cheap version of Jedi Hunter. So pretty good Darth Vader stats. He has dark armor. He's got Gemso style as well, and he's got Jedi Hunter. So this guy is going to be a menace against Jedi for sure. And then he has limited force, but that's okay. I mean, he has Force Lightsaber Throw 2, which is pretty good, in this case. And then Riposte is okay. You don't really need Riposte since he has Gemso style, but whatever. It's more guaranteed. I think he's pretty good. I know he's a little expensive. He's not a little expensive. I'm going to put him low A tier. I do think he's really good. However, there's other Darth Vaders I think I prefer even over him. But for his role, for 55 points to be a real Jedi Hunter type guy, I think you're gonna like him quite a lot. I think he's a little underrated somewhat, so I'm gonna stick him probably right up here. Definitely would prefer him over these people, but yeah, he's pretty cool. Protocol Droid. For 6 points, you get someone that can remove stealth. I don't think I like this all that much, to be honest with you, because like it's just going to be a target. You send him out there to remove someone's stealth. You'll probably get hit. At least he has 30 hit points. It could be awesome. It could be worked without if you deploy him right. But I'd rather just use him with like 4 cents or something. I don't know, or some other person. I don't think it's fair to put him in D tier, but I'm going to put him top of D tier because, like, again, he's cheap if you deploy him right to, like, kind of, have him run 12 squares maybe and get rid of stealth for some ranged people. That could be useful, but I don't really care for it. General Wedge Antilles. So, unfortunately, I have to put this guy at top of S tier. I don't like this character at all. I really don't like him. This guy and General Recan are just... they're just bad for the game. Because, like, for 23 points, fantastic. You get mobile. You can't kill him because he's evade and foot defeat. He has accurate shot, too. He's not going to do damage, but then he gives pretty much your whole team evade and mobile attack. Like, what's going on here? Like, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. You could give... The implications are insane. You can just be like, hey, okay, all these incredible Jedi, they'll have evade and mobile attack. All these incredible, like, fringe people I bring in, I'll have evade and mobile attack now. Like, what is going on? So I think, unfortunately, this guy is... I'm obligated for a tier list video to put him at the very top, but he's so broken. This guy, I feel like in Star Wars miniatures, there's truly like 3 or 4 broken characters that are just like, there's some incredible characters, but they're not quite broken, but they're almost there. But there's 3 people that I think come to mind right off the bat that are truly just totally busted, and he's one of them. So it's like him, General Recan, are completely busted, and then General Obi-Wan Kenobi. So those 3, I look at them and I'm like, it's bad for the game. So I think with this guy, I think what they should have done, and even for 23 points, if you gave followers one or the other, is still incredible. It's like if you said followers gain evade, that's incredible. Maybe what they should have done is maybe make it within 6 squares. That would have been strong, but much more reasonable. But the fact that it's just unlimited range followers, so I spent too much time on him. But he is the best character in this set, hands down. But unfortunately, he's wasn't designed well. ASN Assassin Droid, pretty good. So kind of like a mix of Zamwezel and the ASN Assassin, not the ASN, I think it's the EB-77. It's the Bounty Hunter set droid where you have program target, accurate shot. So the nice thing about this guy is, interesting. After choose one enemy, this character gets +4 attack. Oh, the other droid I'm thinking of. No, this is the same power. Yeah. So you can choose a person who you want to like really kill, and you'll have decent ability at shooting at them a little bit, but really you just kind of want to deploy this person in position and then use Kahuna Infestation. But the problem with him is even if you do that, you have to get into a spot that's close, and then you can use it. And you may be able to pull it off, and that's fantastic. For almost 30, that's worth it. But otherwise, this guy really isn't going to be doing too much for you. He is good. The potential of Kahuna Infestation is strong. having a program targeting someone is good. I just feel like for 50 points, hit points, like he may not necessarily get a lot out of Cahoon Infestation. So for that reason, I'm going to put him in B tier. Please feel free to disagree. I'm going to do low B tier because I think these are great things, but I'd rather have Zam. I know Zam's way more expensive, but I'd rather have her because she's got stealth, I think. Yeah. And she's got Cahoon Infestation as well, Loner. I actually forget about Loner. So I think he's cool, but I'm a little worried that you're not going to be able to get to use it or leverage it for what you're paying. Boma, pretty good, charging assault plus 10. So for 22 points, 100 hit points, yeah, it's pretty cool in my opinion. I'm not going to go A tier with this thing though, but a high B tier I think is appropriate. I'll put this guy right up here. Yeah. So high B tier. Again, you can do some great combos with them if you have a good Savage squad. 30 damage at 10 attack, just charging up to it. Bad defense, but for 22 hit points, 100. For 22 defense, 13 defense, 22 cost is good for 100 hit points. I think that's pretty sweet. And there's other things you can do to make them better. Okay, these guys are S tier. I'm just going to do bottom of S tier. Just being able to have one of these on your squad to just make your 20 damage shooters, and especially your 10 damage shooters, like this is really good for those 10 damage shooters. Because if someone maybe has good attack but doesn't do too much damage, this can be really helpful, especially if they already have like double attack or something. I just think keeping one of these on your squad to really boost your team can be so powerful, so strong. And then having Jolt is great for the activations. Fantastic piece. I don't think it's necessarily broken, but like it's S tier. Yeah, a Chani Handmaiden. So for 23, you get someone. This is like a knockoff of the Dash Rendar from Imperial Entanglements. Basically, like you have terrible defense, you have no damage, you have no hit points, but you have great survivability. You got greater mobile, twin, and double, so you're gonna just be running around, just kind of taking little pot shots out. And 7 attack is okay for kind of what you're doing here, paying for. So I think these people are pretty good. Not necessarily my favorite. I think their offensive potential is a little limited, even for their cost. Don't get me wrong. So they're definitely cool. You can put them some good combinations and squads. But I am going to put them higher up, maybe like around here, just because having this combination of powers is strong, even if it's a little underpowered in terms of not doing too much damage. But it's cool. You can't go wrong with this combo. Geno Hardened Assassin, these are cool because you have incredible defense, and good hit points, and then you have cloaked. So you just need to stay in cover. You get up to your enemy, and if assuming you're alone, mobile attacks, whatever. But you'll have Poison Blade. You have Cunning Attack if you can work that in. And even though you're just 21 points, you're a guy that you're guaranteed to kind of get up to an enemy. And then if, depending on how things go your way, you can really, really do some damage. So I think these are cool. Again, if you mix them with an Ithorian commander, they're terrifying. So pretty good piece. I'm going to put these guys, I'm pretty sure I put them low A tier. I think that's appropriate. The only reason they're not more is just because they are 10 damage. So they'll do 1 attack, which is good. They don't have any paralysis or anything. So they can do some damage if they kind of get up there. And they do have great defense. But you can, gotta, it is a 1 attack thing. So definitely pretty awesome. I'm going to put this guy's falling too much. He probably doesn't deserve to be this low, but he has some weaknesses, but he's cool. Jarael, I think Jarael is an S tier character. Her survivability and defense is unparalleled, kind of. Such a useful unit. Oh my goodness. So for her cost, good stats. It's nice to have triple, and Electrostaff plus 10. So either you'll do more damage against non-living enemies, or you're gonna make the living enemies. You have 3 opportunities to make them. Activated. So strong. She has force, which can be really helpful, and the fact that she has evade and parry is so strong. So really, it's just the only way to get around this is to shoot her melee, and that's it. If you have gun melee, then then you're going to be hurting her. But even that's not going to work as well because she'll be able to kind of do damage on you, activate you, and she's fast. So I think Jariel is absolutely an S tier. I'm trying to figure out how crazy to get. I'm going to put her above Malik because for 23 points, this is wild, like pretty wild. Jawa Scout, these guys are underrated, strong, really strong. I think these guys are even warranting like, where did I put on my original tier list? I did to set this thing up. I think I had them. Looks like I had them low in the mid B tier. But if you take a look at this, for 10 points, just 10 points, you have great hit points, solid stats around here. And then against if you use your stealth and your ion gun and your spotter together, this guy could do like a 50-point shot on someone. Yeah, that's kind of insane actually. The thing is that you do have to get close enough to use it, but like, yikes, like that's terrifying. And only for 10 points. Like, I can't think of another 10-point character that's better for the cost, so I'm gonna just throw it at bottom of A tier just because that's so strong. Jolie Bindo, pretty cool character in general. So for 23 points, again, great stats, double and avoid defeat, which is cool. You could even save your force powers to help with avoid defeat, which could be useful. And he's fringe, so you can be on a lot of squads. Stun is useful. I don't know if I'd use Valor necessarily. It is good to have, but like it's going to zap your force points. And then Deflect. So he's a very survivable Jedi. Pretty solid, flexible because he can be on any team. I like him. I think he's pretty cool. I think this guy, though, I think I put him in low A tier. I think that's probably the most appropriate place for him. In my original tier list, actually I might have put him at a different spot. I put him in B tier. I think that's okay, because avoid defeat is really hard to make work anyway, so you can almost kind of scratch that off. But he has good force powers. I think this guy is definitely a high B tier, if anything. Yeah, similar in stats to this guy right here. Man, that is really tempting though to have all this combination for 23. That's really cool. I'm trying to figure out how crazy to get. I'll put him just below Atten Rand. I really love Atten's Rand's just offensive potential against Sith, or just Jedi in general. But to be able to have avoid defeat and be fringe, so you could pair him up with all sorts of characters to kind of help with the force power. You can do some. It's very easy to kind of improve that. So pretty good survivability. And for 23 points, he's going to do some good work for you. I'm trying to figure out. I don't want to have too many people in A tier. I really don't. We'll see. I'll just keep them like that combination. Giovanni, again, similar in stats to Jolie Bindo, but this person's got a lot more going for her. Yeah, so deadly attack's nice to tack on. Good melee. You can get to the people with melee with stealth. Having all the basic good stuff there. Vicious attack, it's pretty crazy actually. So being out deadly and vicious, pretty awesome. Force cloaked if you really want to just never be seen. And then to have rage and block. So I think Giovanni is clearly, in my opinion, like even though for 3 points more, I'd much rather have her. Much rather have Giovanni, just so much more powerful. Definitely a high A tier. I'm going to go all the way up top here. Just for 25 points, like, wow, that's powerful. Again, the attack on these melee people isn't very impressive compared to some of the other melee people we can get used to. But like, that's so strong. I think just having this combination of things can be pretty scary, especially if you get those critical hits. Kreia. So I think for Kreia, we have to go besides this broken dude here, I think Kreia is going to go top of S tier. One of the most rare characters in the game, so powerful. So for 43 points, the base stats are underpowered for someone who has less powers. But you get some good things going for you. You have Force Cloaked, so boom, shooters are not going to have a very good time against her if you choose to use it. So the thing is, though, is you have to make a choice. Drain Life 3, pretty good. If you want to use that as well. I think if you can get this person up with someone that can give force power, like have a force battery, then Kreia is probably a little broken, honestly. But having It's a Trap, so you can get up to people with cloaked, kill their stealth, having Flurry, Betrayal on this rando fringe character is just terrifying, and then triple attack. So yeah, if this guy wasn't broken, she'd be at the top. She's almost broken. On her own, she's not, but if you mix her with certain combinations, then you're going to have a good squad. Massive, pretty cool. So for 10 points, you get some of the vicious attack, which, maybe won't happen all too often, but it's fast. It doesn't have it doesn't have Savage, which is a cool thing to have in mind. So I think Massives are decent, decent unit. I'll put them just below the Assassin Droid. They're fast. They have good attack. For 10 points, though, that's pretty cool. But vicious attack is something you can't bank on. So I think this is a fair place, mid B tier. I think that's okay. Again, you could make arguments to move some of these things up. This is a really good set, to be honest with you. I think KOTOR is just full of incredible people. Mission Vow, pretty decent as well. I think the cool thing with her is if you do get a melee opportunity, then yes, you can have the opportunity to do a lot of damage. But not a lot of hit points. For 27, the stats are not very impressive, in my opinion. And if you happen to not get the cunning attack to go your way, you're going to be in trouble. So I think Mission Vow, in my opinion, is not so amazing. I'd probably dock her down, probably mid to low B tier. In my original tier list I did setting this thing up, I put Mission Vow, let's see, low B tier. That sounds just fine. So it is nice that you have the stealth. Cunning attack 20 can be really good, so you can kind of get up and maybe get that thing to work out for you, but that's not a lot of hit points, and if you're against a good squad, they might knock you out fast, unless you have ways of kind of preventing it. I'm going to do bottom of B tier just because that makes me a little scared. Having costing this much and being a little bit of a glass cannon almost for melee. So a little scary, but good if he can make it work. So just still B tier is good. Rakugals, these things are crazy. Totally crazy. So for 16 points, good defense, decent hit points. But yeah, being able to have ambush with Savage is a plus. Helps mitigate Savage's issues. Triple attack's great, and then having Rakugal disease. So definitely having the low attack balances this out more. But like, oh my gosh, like this thing's, what are we talking about? Rakugals are so cool. I'm gonna put these guys probably somewhere in mid A tier for sure. Not S tier. That's reserved for truly insane characters. But like, I'll put Rakugal. Yeah, I think that sounds just fine. Actually, a little higher. Yeah, I'm getting a little crazy. I think if you plan yourself out well, you can have totally brutal squads with Rakugals. These guys in Exar Khan is GG probably. Really cool. And then their Rakugal disease is pretty insane. So better make sure you get a few more of these miniatures if you're going to be using them. Chirac, this is going to be a long video. I've spent a long time talking about these. Yeah, let's try to finish this up real quick. Pretty cool. So having Swarm 4 is actually pretty awesome for 20 points. If you can get maybe a couple of these, unfortunately they are large bases, so that can be a space issue. But you can move quick with flight, get into positions to do some damage. I don't totally love these because they are large bases. You're going to be clogging up a lot of lanes to get Swarm 4 to work. So I don't hate that. But I think for 20 points you can do better. I'll do top of C tier for sure because they're not bad. They're just kind of like, they're interesting for sure. But you just got to watch out how you use them. T1 series bulk loader droid. I think you can't put in this anything lower than an A tier. It has to be that high. I'm going to say just right below the Rakugal. I think these are a little terrifying, even for their costs. I actually just going to go with Rakugal. So the knock on this is okay. You have unbelievable stats, but you have melee and heavy weapon. This might be the only heavy weapon melee character in the game, but it's totally worth it because you have melee reach too. So all you need to do is just run up to somebody, and if they try to move away from you, it's your attack of opportunity is worth it. 40 damage. That's just so many hit points. And if you put these on the Separatists, you can do some horrifying things, like mix these with General Grievous Droid Commander. You can be having twin attack. You're going to be having, oh my gosh. So I think T1 series bulk loader droids are absolutely bonkers if you put them in the right squads. I'm just going to move them up a little higher. They're just so good. to have these good of stats. Like, I normally don't like heavy weapon, but like, um, this is worth it. This is absolutely worth it. So I like it. So T3M. So the cool thing with this guy, so it's kind of a plus and a minus. I'm not sure how I feel about it. So he costs 17, and basically from that 17 cost, you're getting someone that can shoot, and you're getting flamethrower. Normally, I wouldn't have too big of a problem with this, but if I'm going to have someone with override, I'd rather have him be as cheap as possible and give me override. But unfortunately, this guy's, almost 20 cost. And he does have flamethrower. That's actually pretty good in terms of, doing some offensive stuff. He's obviously still high A tier, so I'm going to stick him probably like right up here, just behind. I really, really like these four, I should say. But I'd prefer to have my override people be super cheap so I can maximize other people doing these things for me. But like, flamethrower is pretty sweet if you're going to have some defensive capability. Tusken Raider Scout, pretty cool. For 11 points, you get evade and stealth on a Tusken Raider. Again, it's just a Tusken Raider, so other than those things, other than being survivable, like, what else are you going to do with it? I'm not sure. So I am going to put this guy probably pretty low. I'm going to say right here in C tier. And the only reason I'm doing this is because, like, they are good. You can work with this. You can do some other things to make them better. But other than being survivable, like, kind of what else is there? Like, you could probably knock these things out pretty decently well. So I think I'll do bottom of B tier because having evade and stealth can be pretty nice. And if you figure out a good squad, maybe you can get some things. Gosh, I'm going back and forth. I'll do just behind Chirac. Zalbar, as a Wookiee, this is not all that impressive. So for 30 points, you're getting someone that can't shoot very well. They do have double attack, though. But you want this person to be close, because if they're close, then doing melee stuff, Zalbar is going to be a problem. But even then, like, I'm concerned he may kind of get taken apart or dismantled pretty fast. So for Zalbar, I'll put him, I think these guys are a little too high. I'll put him just below, it's just below this guy, yeah. Really good, don't get me wrong, he's a Wookiee, and if you put him with certain Wookiee squads, he can be even better than this. I just don't like that base attack being so low, and is really dependent on melee attack, basically, or not melee attack, but a close quarters fighting to be very effective, so I'll have to put him down there. Zane Carrick, wow, very interesting person. Okay, so for 24 points, you're getting someone with Kurtosis Gauntlet and Lightsaber and Force Renewal. So the thing with him is that his Kurtosis Gauntlet has very good potential to work. He's got decent stats for 24 for sure. And then Jedi Mind Trick is a nice thing in there to kind of do some things. But so Kermit, look, if your initiative check is an odd number, you're good. If it's an even number, it's bad. And Karmic Metal is if this character spends a force point to reroll, add +4 to the result. If the result is failed, attack or save, this character takes 10 damage. Having Karmic Metal to possibly reroll, well, Karmic Metal isn't going to really work well with block because you have to spend a force to use it, and if it doesn't work, and then if there's some way you're able to reroll, then it can be pretty good. But either way, like, having Karmic Luck is pretty cool because it can, if you do get a good initiative, then you can kind of like get him into action and make him kind of use these powers. And if you don't get it, then you can kind of gauge around that and build around it, have him stay away. I put him in S tier. I think that's too high, honestly, because if you are shooting, you can probably blow this guy up pretty good. Oh, never mind. I didn't read this right. If your initiative check is an odd number, +4 to all this character's rolls for the round. Even if it's an even number, then -4. So if it's +4, then his attack's good. His Kurtosis Gauntlet is deadly. So if you do see this guy, you just shoot him. Don't even bother melee. It'd be very, very dangerous if you do melee. Very dangerous. So I think for him, I think that is pretty scary. I'm going to say the top of A tier because if you plan around and use his powers correctly, he can be he can ruin the enemy squads with melee abilities and stuff like that. So pretty interesting for 24. A very wacky character. Again, I'm not a big fan of the wacky characters with very unique, interesting things going on, but he's good. I'm tempted to put him S tier, but I'll put him top of A tier. I want S tier to truly be just bonkers characters. Mandalore the Ultimate, for 75 points, you're getting one of the best shooters in the game. They don't have accurate shot, but they have charging fire, got the speed, the flurry attack, and twin. And then, again, I apologize for being this my longest video, by the way. There's just a lot to talk about with KOTOR, so I am happy the sets are getting shorter after this. It'll help the video length. So cool. And then Mandalorians gain charging fire, so to make all characters Mandalorian, because a lot of Mandalorian commander effects dictate whether they're Mandalorian or not. And this is huge, so you can make fringe characters that are awesome Mandalorian, and they can take advantage of some fantastic Mandalorian commander effects. I think he's really good. I don't think he's broken, and the reason I say that is like I have played against good squads, and even though he is really powerful, like he's still 75 points, and that is so pricey, so pricey. Even for this great stuff that you have right here. So a fantastic piece, not quite S tier for me. Just personal bias based on like I've played against him a few times, and I've done with a variety of squads and have been able to take care of him. Because at 75 points, it really just kind of takes up a big part of it. It takes up half your squad if you're doing standard 150 point game. But great character. I mean, if he shoots you, you're probably screwed. Definitely got some good things going for him. The captain, this guy's awesome. So, again, making people Mandalorian, twin attack. I think this guy's awesome. I think he's definitely an A tier character for sure. I'm pretty sure I put him in A tier. Did I put him in A tier? Or did I put him in B tier? My original tier list, I need to figure this out. Where is he? So he's the yellow guy. This guy is A tier. For 23 points, you get someone with a good twin. Grenades 20 is always nice. And to give Mandalorians twin attack, wow. Like, the super commandos with twin attack is just terrifying. I think that's awesome. I think this guy's really good, but I'm going to put him just behind the shield bear. Yeah, really good. The commando, again, this is pretty bonkers. For 13 points now, and this is the same set as the elite the Sith Trooper. And these guys just by default are better. Better stats, better everything. And they're the Mandalorians are pretty scary sometimes. So I think the Commando, I'm going to put the Commando, again, I'm not going to go too crazy with the Commando, but I'm going to probably have to say, very high B tier. Just for 13 points, that's so good. And they're easy to make improve. So I think for 13 points, like, This is great for 13 points. So good for 13 points. And then the Mandalorian Marauder. Again, not quite as cool. So the fact they have parry is nice. And they are melee. They do not have 8 defense. That's a classic typo. I don't love these things though. I really don't. I'm gonna stick them down in C tier. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of these things at all. Like for 15. They do have good defense. Having parry is good, and they can kind of get somewhere, but I'm just not a fan of this type of Mandalorian. If you can give them some good Mandalorian commander effects, that could be useful, but not a fan. Quartermaster is fascinating. A pretty good overall. It's an interesting commander, so you just kind of have one on your team, have them buff the attack if you need it. They are melee attack, though, so you gotta kind of just be aware. Like, They are a good commander because if someone gets too close, they can go out and they can kind of dispatch and take care of them pretty well. So I think the Quartermaster is pretty good overall. So I think the Quartermaster being that way, let's see, what do I like? It's a little expensive even for a melee person, but he does have Gregarious and Twin, so he can, and parry, that's actually pretty good. I'm going to put this guy probably just right here. Yeah, I think that's fine. They're a little expensive even for all this stuff, but pretty good overall things going on. I'm a fan. And then the Mandalorian Scout. I think this guy might be one of the best Mandalorians you can get. I'm going to put him just above the Circus Sign. I'm going to put him above Tarpals too. Yeah. So you have somebody here with Opportunist. I know the damage is 10, but for 19 points, You get someone with Cloaked, has greater mobile and double. You don't even like need greater mobile at this point with Cloaked, but all 4 of these powers working together is pretty wild. Yeah, pretty wild. And then, it's easy to give him twin attack. It's easy to give him other cool powers with Mandalorians. So, like, I think Mandalorian Scout, in my opinion, might be the best Mandalorian non-unique character that they have available to him. Just being able to be like almost untouchable is so powerful. However, because their power depends on opportunists, really, you got to watch out, because if you have someone who rushes them down, and they're tanky, then they can probably take care of these guys pretty well. But I think just in general, like, if you use these guys right, you're be in fantastic shape. So anyway, that's it. Please, like, comment, and subscribe. Please let me know what your thoughts are. If there are certain characters you think are ranked too high or too low. Again, I would be shocked if other people had a similar tier list to me, because everyone has different ideas. And then again, I don't have a ton of experience with some of these characters. Definitely played with and against several of them, but definitely a set full of a lot of rare people. So I haven't mentioned this in a while, but like I've said before in my early videos, the credit for all of these images goes to Rebel Scum Photo Archive, which is in the description. So yeah, please check them out. I need to do more research, but whoever did document this did a great job. And then Blue Milk is obviously a great place to check out too for all Star Wars miniatures content. So yeah, with that, I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.